right, welcome once again to the Friday Beer Break, brought to you by the Toronto Festival of Beer, beerfestival.ca. That's the website, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we're not only joined by Chris Schreier
Yes.
of the TorontoBeerBlog.com. Introduce yourself, extra special guest.
Les Murray, festival president.
Festival president. It's your shebang.
Yeah.
So how long has the Toronto Festival of Beer been going on for?
19 years this year. We're legal this year.
It can actually drink itself.
Yeah,
now.
it can actually drink itself.
It could go to the festival and drink.
It's finally allowed to be there.
So now, maybe I'm just like new to it all, but it feels like there's been this massive explosion of smaller breweries. Now, is the face of the Festival of Beer a lot different than it used to be?
Oh God, yeah. Right. Not only are we in a new location, right? We're at Bandshell Park at Exhibition Place. We were at Fort York for the first 14 years, but like my partner likes to say, you know, the fort was meant to keep people out. We were loading them all in, and was it. So we went to Bandshell Park, and it's unbelievable the explosion in beer and the number of local breweries that participated in this year. And we put them front and center, right in front of the Bandshell. And each year it just keeps growing and growing.
And this
Crazy.
is part of what I've always loved. Well, I say always. I've only been going to the festival the year after the move. I started with the move. I said I'm not into this military thing.
Right.
But no, the smaller breweries, like you say,
Yeah.
partially they occupy less space, so they're a bit easier to put them there.
Sure.
And some of those big guys roll in with buses full of bikini-clad volleyball-playing women. But
Horrible.
But what you get though is you get this really cool district in the middle where you can just wander around. I mean, hey, if you like the big stuff and you like the volleyball and boobies, that's cool. But I like to be able to just spend time.
Why not combine them both?
Well, typically
You can get your beer and go see the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, typically it's just the function of the footprint, right?
Yeah.
So, the outer regions you can actually afford to do bigger brand experience areas, but in the center is where we really like to focus, right? And that's where we put all the local guys.
So is that your intention in the beginning, to really focus on the local breweries?
Well, I think it's important to kind of, right, it's the category of beer we're talking about, right? And it's great for consumers to get a feel for, hey, how it's all laid out, right? So if they want to explore local beers, that's where you go to, right? If you want to go to more national, bigger brands, you go to different areas, right, and experience that too. So it's really all about the consumer experience more than anything else.
But there's more going on than just beer. There's also
Oh,
music
God,
and all that
absolutely.
stuff. Who do you have like for all the performances this year?
Friday night headliner is De La Soul.
So excited.
Oh,
Right?
that's gonna be fantastic.
Saturday is the Spin Doctors.
Yeah.
And Sunday is interesting Sunday. It's Big Sugar with Willie Williams, right? Who is their guest singer, and they do a yard style performance. And opening for them is the Easy Star All Stars.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Sunday.
amazing.
Listen.
Yeah.
I will
I
say
had no idea
this:
that. That's awesome.
you will never hear a louder show than Big Sugar. Like,
Wow.
I've never.
Hence we're doing it yard style.
I've never been a huge like fan
Yeah.
of Big Sugar's albums, but whenever I get a chance to see Gordie Johnson play live, he's amazing.
He likes to go loud. Yes.
Oh yeah, he's
Absolutely.
fantastic. I remember watching Grady open for Nashville Pussy. It was amazing, and you see like him come out and like this total rockabilly guy. He's
Totally.
utterly fantastic. But
Yeah.
let's talk about the
right.
beers.
Sure.
We have two beers here today, both things that will be at the festival. We're going to start on the Saison side, which makes sense, partially
Sure.
because it's been a really hot week.
And I love Saisons.
And
It
I
is
want to
hot
cool
out
down a
there.
bit.
Yeah.
And also partially just in a taste profile way, we're going to move sensibly. So this is Mad and Noisy. This is the Creemore specialty line.
Which I find like it's like they're borrowing from Flying Monkeys on this one. I really feel like they're taking a page from the Book of Flying
Yeah,
Monkeys.
you could
like,
say that.
The presentation, all of it.
Yeah, the branding is pretty wild, and the styles of beer. I mean, so they have this, the Saison, and they also have the India Pale Lager, which is a cool, interesting thing. Creemore mainly does lagers, so it makes sense.
And their
They're
color
at,
beer.
they're at the festival too.
And they will be. This
Yeah.
will be at the festival. I have it on good authority. But so this Saison is, for a Saison, it's not particularly wacky. But that being said, a lot of people don't do Saisons. Yeah, I guess we will.
We'll all have
We're
a
doing
bottle.
it this
Yeah,
way.
yeah, we might as well. I'm gonna
What
pour.
are we all gonna pour? Share a glass?
No, I was thinking more like if you wanted to have like the bottle that I poured some out of.
No. Believe me, I'm a professional.
Yep. So what we have, Saisons are these Belgian farmhouse style beers, and we've talked about them.
I love them.
The
I'm always talking about
Allison Breer that Fred made with Sam from Sawdust was a Saison.
Oh yeah.
So,
There you go.
screwed it up. Anyway,
Good.
you see though, it's hazy. So this is an unfiltered beer. There's often wheat. It can be rye. I'm not sure if they have rye in this one, but it'll almost definitely have wheat and barley in it. And it's also spiced. That between the yeasty esters, which are spicy, and then they also add, I believe, coriander to it.
It smells like there's coriander in here.
Anywho,
It's clove.
clove, yeah, you get that. So really beautiful, but these are the classic summer beer. When it's hot.
It's so light.
Oh, and tart and effervescent. And
Cheers. I took a sip.
try it.
Sorry, guys. I had to. I was smelling it for so long.
Like I could just drink that
That's delicious.
all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the sun,
Absolutely. In the rain.
in the rain,
In the
wouldn't
dark on a
matter.
train.
Yeah.
I
In
would.
a box of the fox.
That's right. In a house with a house mouse.
Yeah.
So, quite tart. Like a wheat beer, if you're used to drinking like a German or a Belgian style wheat beer, you
very
get that
much so.
tartness.
Yeah.
Nice bit of spiciness, but it's a bit lighter in the body, and yeah, just so refreshing. And these are the beers that we've talked about. They would make them in the cool months between growing seasons. The Belgian farmers would, because it would provide the workers something to do while they weren't farming. And then also it provided them with beer, which you can't really make when it's too hot out. If it's too hot, the beer doesn't cool down quick enough, it gets infected, and it doesn't work. So that's why they would make Saisons, and it's a wonderful style of beer. So this is, like I said, Creemore's Mad and Noisy. It's available in Tallboys at the beer store. You can get it at the Beer Academy, which is where I physically got these bottles.
I'm noticing a lot of like the tall boy bottles are making a huge.
Tallboy
like,
cans, yeah, it's big. And then, yeah, you can get these bottles. The only bar I know of that has them is Finn McCool's, but they've got a bunch of locations. So they have these bottles. And
Especially
especially
you guys call them like tall boy cans. Like out
you
west
call
we call
them
them super cans.
super can. I always
Yeah,
think of a
it's
king
Tallboy.
can
Yeah.
is like a liter can or a 750
Yeah,
ml
that's
can.
a king can.
Yeah.
But like the super can is just the bigger can.
Out west, standard size cans, 355s, are way more prevalent than they are in Ontario. In fact, I'm trying to think right now if there's an Ontario brewer that's making a 355 mil. Sorry, a craft. I mean, I think
Making a
you can
three-
get, yeah, you can get Coors and
Yeah.
Blue and that sort of stuff in that sort of a can. But
That's
in
because in
terms
a
of
lot
craft-
of bars out west, like especially in oil towns, you can't have bottled beer in the bar because there's too much violence. And
Somebody
that's
will use it
true
as a weapon.
because I lived in oil towns.
But there's a big difference too, right? Out west, I mean, it's a different mix, right? It's 75% can, 25% package, like bottle, and it's vice versa in Ontario.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, in Ontario, obviously, they got a great distribution system that allows you to recycle all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So hence the bottle.
We also have,
Popular.
I think, I don't necessarily know, but because so many of our breweries are so close to our centers of population, you don't have to ship glasses far, so
Yep.
it's a bit easier to deal with.
Sure.
And there's a lot of reasons, but it is, it's interesting when you look at that.
We got to move on to the other one. Or I'm
great
just gonna
beer.
drink this whole thing.
So the other beer Les brought in, this is, to this day, one of my favorite
Yeah, great.
beers. This would be a desert island beer for me, not a word of a lie.
What
This
is it?
Anchor's Liberty Ale. Anchor's more well known for their steam beer, which is
Steam
a
beer.
classic, Californian style beer that has Northern Brewer hops in it, touch of parsley, really beautiful. This though is their, I believe it's IPA. It could be an American Pale, but I think it's an IPA. But a very hoppy. But this is a very traditional. This predates, say, like the big American hop craze. And so what you have here is a beer that has West Coast hops in it and is over hop, but it's still very much traditional in the malting and in the balance. So this is honestly one of the most just favorite beers of mine, and the label is killer. I have very few brands that I would tattoo on my body. I have a Guinness pint glass, I realize, but I would consider getting this label tattooed like on my shoulder. It's just this beautiful naval piece with an anchor and wings and a big American flag. Anyway,
Hop vines. And
hot vines, yeah, it's an amazing. So anyway, let's drink. This is an amazing beer.
Cheers.
I could
It's like
sway
coming
like
home.
that.
It's like coming home.
Now, in the beer festival this year, we have a World of Beers Pavilion, and we're focusing on West Coast beers. So beers from Washington, beers from California, and beers from BC. Right. So that's where you'll find that in that West Coast Pavilion.
This is really good.
I know it
Now,
is.
what is it I'm tasting? I'm tasting like something that's almost like caramely.
That's the malt.
All right.
Sweet carameliness from the malting. Traditionally, English IPAs have a more even balance between sweet malts and the aggressive sort
It's a
of
very
hops.
sweet malt.
So you get this very nice caramelly sweetness in the front of your
Yeah.
tongue, but then this very herbal, earthy hoppiness. It's not very piney the way that you get with a lot of American hops, but very just sturdy sort of hopping to it. I can't say enough good things about it.
Delish, Chris.
You can get this at the LCBO,
Yeah.
and not all of them necessarily carry it, but you can ask, and they can definitely bring it in. And if you are ever in California, checking out the Anchor Brewing Company is huge. It's considered by many people to be the original modern microbrewery. So the idea being, if you go 150 years ago, all breweries were microbreweries. That's just the nature of the beast.
Totally.
But Anchor was operating in San Francisco, and it was in decline, and it was almost going to close. And then a fellow by the name of Fritz Maytag, who is of the Maytag family, bought the brewery and breathed new life into it. And I think he did that, I believe it was in the 60s. And so it's considered by most people to be the first modern microbrewery that
He was from Maytag. He really had nothing else to do.
Exactly. They never break.
He's waiting around.
They never break. All right. Well, Toronto Festival of Beer, July 26th through 28th, beerfestival.ca.
Tickets available at beerfestival.ca.
Is anything sold out yet?
Saturday sold out. Friday is almost there, and but still tickets left for Sunday.
Move quick.
Well, Les, thank you for coming on.
Thanks
Guys,
for coming.
cheers,
man.
guys.
Very good to have you.
Cheers.
Chris, it's always good to see you.
Yeah, I guess.